صباح الخير. صباح الخير. We'll start by the video and then we'll go.
Under the slogan of shaping our digital future,
صباح الخير.
the Arab International Digital Cooperation and Development Forum, the CDF, will bring together representatives and
We'll start by
experts
the
from
video
Arab
and
governments.
then we'll go.
Under the slogan of shaping our digital future,
صباح الخير.
the Arab
Civil
International
society,
Digital
the
Cooperation
technical
and
community,
Development Forum, the CDF,
academia,
will bring together
and
representatives
international
and
organizations
experts from Arab governments.
Then we'll go.
The CDF will
Under
be
the
held
slogan
virtually
of
from
shaping our
17 to
digital
23
future.
December 2021. The Arab
Civil
International
society,
Digital
the
Cooperation
technical
and
community,
Development Forum, the CDF,
and
academia will bring
academia,
together
and
representatives
through
and
almost
experts
30
from Arab
sessions over
governments.
8 days. You can
The
participate
CDF
in
will be held
policy
virtually
debates
from
on
17
priority
to
issues
23
in the
December
fields of intelligent policy,
2021. The Arab
ICT
International
development,
Collaboration
local
and
community,
the Arab
region,
the CDF,
and
academia
academia,
bring together representatives
This is the
and
almost
experts
30
from
sessions
Arab
over 8
tracks
days
of the World
You
Summit.
can
The
participate
CDF
in
will be held
policy
virtually
debates
from
on
17
priority
to
issues
23
governing the
December
world of intelligent policy
2021.
to maximize opportunity development collaboration in the Arab region.
The CDF
Register now to join us in this journey in almost 30 sessions over 8 days
of the World
Together,
Summit.
participate in policy debates on priority issues governing the world of intelligent policy to maximize opportunity development collaboration in the Arab
Good morning, everybody. Sabah al khair. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone over the globe who is following us. Welcome to the first inaugural edition of the Digital Cooperation and Development Forum 2021 that is organized by ESCWA and the League of Arab States plus partners from different parts of the world. This session is the second in a row of the youth track that we started in the morning with a session that was named The Future of Work of Youth and Females Arab Region Evidence from the ESCWA Skills Monitor. And this was for those who are very, let us say, very concerned about what is going to be their jobs in the future and their employment. But now this session is from a different angle. It is a session for those who want to be the employers, for those who want to build the business and to create the job and employment opportunity. This is our session on access to finance for young innovators and entrepreneurs. And from that session, we will learn how can we access finance if we want to finance our company, business, SME, or startup. I will give the floor to my friend and colleague, Mr. Karim Hassan, who is the Executive Director of the UN ESCWA Technology Center for Development in Jordan. And before being in ESCWA, Karim was the Director of Youth and Innovation Program at the Global Institute of Water, Environment and Health, Switzerland, the Managing Director of Bina Foundation in Egypt. Besides, he had an intensive academic career as lecturer and researcher at Zuwail University for Science and Technology in Egypt, King Saud University in Saudi Arabia, and the University of Duisburg-Essen, Germany, the American University in Cairo, Egypt, and the Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Science and Technology in Switzerland. Karim, the floor is yours, and I'm very happy to have you with us today, and very delighted for that session that we really would bring to the youth of the Arab region to help them shape our digital future. Karim, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Ayman. Yeah, I'll go right to the point. We are here talking about like small and medium enterprises and young entrepreneurial initiatives who are playing a major role in most economies, particularly in the Arab region. Youth-led SMEs account for the majority of businesses worldwide and are important contributors to job creation and global economic development. SMEs represent about 90% of the businesses and more than 50% of employment worldwide. Formal SMEs contribute to 40% of the national income in emerging economies like most of the Arab countries. These numbers are significantly higher when informal SMEs are included also as well. Financial access is critical for growth of these small and medium-sized enterprises. It allows entrepreneurs to innovate, improve efficiency, expand to new markets, and provide millions of jobs. Yet in the Arab region, the majority of SMEs are unable to acquire the financing they need to reach their potential. According to the International Finance Corporation, SMEs in the developing world can also be risky and expensive for lenders, leading to trillions of US dollars as financing gap. The International Finance Corporation estimates that 65 million firms, or 40% of the formal SMEs in developing countries, have an unmet financing need of 5.2 trillions every year, which equivalent to 1.4 times the current level of the global MSME lending. According to estimates, 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing global workforce, which makes SME development a high priority for many governments around the globe, especially in the Arab region. In the Arab region, most formal jobs are created by SMEs, which create 7 out of 10 jobs. However, access to finance is a key constraint for SME development and growth. It is the second most cited obstacle facing SMEs in the Arab region to grow their businesses in emerging markets and developing countries. SMEs are less likely to be able to obtain bank loans than large firms. Instead, they really rely on internal funds or cash from friends or family to launch and initially run their enterprises. This is why we have this session, to inform young innovators and entrepreneurs about the opportunities that can support their initiatives and ideas to grow from zero to hero. I have here 4 amazing young people representing different organizations who will inform us about different supporting and financial opportunities for young Arab innovators and entrepreneurs. They are Gabriel Petrus, the Deputy Director of the Global Partnerships and Development at the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. We have here also Joël Yazbek, the Executive Coordinator of the ICCC Center of Entrepreneurship based in Beirut. And also we have here Loreen and Blanca. They are Research Assistants at the United Nations ESQA Technology Center. So I'd like to check if Gabriel joined us now. Okay. So yeah, he will jump from the other one. Okay, let's start now with Joël Yazbek, the Executive Coordinator of the ICCC Center of Entrepreneurship. She will explain to us the work that the center is doing in supporting young people and entrepreneurs and SMEs in the Arab region. Joël, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, just if you may allow me, I want to share my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Can you see it properly, Karim?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the first thing we're going to start is, first of all, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Karim, to be part of the TCGF pre-event and to give me the opportunity to address the youth of our region. This gives me a great pleasure. As you said, I am the Executive Coordinator of the ICC Center of Entrepreneurship. ICC stands for the International Chamber of Commerce and ESCO is the Economic Social Commission for Western Asia. So the center was launched end of 2020 in response to the incidents that were happening on a global level, on a regional level, and specifically in Lebanon. And that's why the center has taken Beirut as a base. However, the center, the COE, has a regional mandate. So I took office early this summer, and the first thing we started when I took office is that we kicked off our workshop by conducting, a series of open discussions and collaborative workshops with the community to listen and consult with the youth on what they perceive as challenges and opportunities in their entrepreneurial journey. And that has actually helped us lay down the 3 different pillars for the Center of Entrepreneurship. Before we get to the different pillars and describe them into more details, just the vision of this center is to lead venture development and entrepreneurial innovation in the Arab region. And the mission is to nurture SMEs by providing best practices in entrepreneurship to build, support, fund, and scale their businesses through specialized programs. And we do that actually, we work on two objectives or 2 goals. One is on a micro level and the other one is on a macro level. On a micro level, what we do is we build the capacity of SMEs and enhance SMEs' access to market opportunities and strategic partnerships to drive growth on regional and international levels. And on a macro level, we build the capacity of governments and business enablers, incubators to support SMEs' growth and sustainability. With this, I move on to the 3 pillars of the COE. The first one is inspiring young minds. The second one is digitizing SMEs. And the third one, helping those SMEs to scale up. So speaking of the first pillar, the Global Sustainable Development Goals, they have provided a common language for the issues that demand our urgent action. We now need to build awareness and share stories that inspire and engage more people in every corner of the world, including the youth who will shape our future. That's why we work to ensure that the inspiration component is being invested in and that these entrepreneurs have access to capacity building programs to give them the skills they need to establish proper startups. Moving on to digitizing SMEs, Karim, you mentioned a very important statistic at the beginning of your intro, which is 90% of businesses in the Middle East are micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which means that MSMEs, they are the backbone of the regional economy. And with everything that has happened with COVID and the economic recession and depression in the region and globally, those SMEs, in order to bounce back, they must embrace digitization and technology across all aspects of their business and at all levels. Last week, we had the Regional Economic Forum. The center hosted the first Regional Economic Forum, and we had an amazing announcement by the Executive Secretary of the ESCWA saying that for the next 2 years, we are going to commit our resources to provide capacity building for micro, small, and medium enterprises in order to help them through their process of digitization. And most specifically, we are going to start with a program that helps offline businesses move online or create their online presence by either joining marketplaces or creating their own e-commerce stores. Moving on to the third pillar, which is scaling up startups. The center will help scale up the best local startups at the global and regional level. And we are going to do this by helping entrepreneurs and micro, small, and medium enterprise owners tap into regional and global networks, such as the networks of ICCC, network of the UN, and other partner organizations. And one example is the Regional Economic Forum that was organized last week, which had allowed us to share experiences, exchange of knowledge, and networking activities among the different participants from all over the globe. This is in terms of the Center of Entrepreneurship. Karim, would you like me to tackle now the sources of finance for entrepreneurs? All right, okay. So this slide is for all startup founders looking for funding. Below, you can find an overview of 6 sources of funding for entrepreneurs. Some apply to early stage startups, while others are more relevant for more mature companies. Nevertheless, the options to be discussed should provide you with a good understanding of some of the sources of funding available for innovators and young entrepreneurs. And that's the purpose of the session today. So I'm going to showcase 6 examples. We're going to start with the first one, which is the founders. Or sometimes in other words, it is called bootstrapping. You hear people saying we're bootstrapping our startup, and that means the founders are investing their own money. They probably have some saving left for them, or they have probably just received a nice bonus. You usually see this happening when the company has just been founded. When a company is set up, in many cases, no revenues or external financing is available, yet there are always some startup costs to cover. This form of financing has a particular advantage, and it shows that you are prepared to take the risk yourself And so this would encourage other external financiers to take the risk of investing in your own company. The second source of funding is the 3 F's, the friends, the family, and the fools. And this is also something that Karim tackled in his intro. So before you start approaching professional investors, a lot of founders start to raise some funding within their close circle of family and friends. And they mainly end up putting in money, those people, because they have believed in your idea or in you as a person or an entrepreneur. And you should not expect a professional assessment of your business plan. They're just putting in money because they believe in you and your team as having the necessary and the skills and capabilities to carry your idea into execution. The advantage of this funding type is that it is quick and cheap way of collecting cash to cover the cost of setting up a new company or to bridge the gap to a first round of pre-seed funding. Number 3 is the angels. Angel investors are wealthy individuals who provide capital to help entrepreneurs and small businesses succeed. They are known as angels because they often invest in risky, unproven business ventures for which other sources of funds are not available. Angels typically offer something called smart capital. This means it's not just money, but also networking opportunities and knowledge within specific sectors. And I believe my colleagues will talk more about the importance of networking and accessing new markets and the importance of tapping into different networks on a regional and international level to give exposure for SMEs. Number 4 is the crowdfunding. With crowdfunding, the crowd finances the funding need of a company. Usually, crowdfunding is performed via an online platform where entrepreneurs offer investment opportunities on one side of the platform. And on the other side of the platform, a large group of people invest small amounts to meet the entrepreneur's investment need. Well-known examples of platforms offering these types of crowdfunding are Kickstarter and Indiegogo. However, for the Middle East, we have 3 other examples. Zumal, which is focused on funding creative projects like musicians, etc. Aflamna, which is focused on funding movies and creative projects. And the last one is Mashwa, funding civic organizations, projects, social causes, projects, and nonprofits. It is worth noting that crowdfunding and business angels are 2 popular ways of securing financing among startups globally. However, they are less popular in our region due to a general lack of favorable legislation in many Arab countries. And definitely this differs from one country to another, from one region to another. Number 5 is the venture capital. Venture capital is mainly suitable for companies that have already passed the seed stage and are looking for capital injection to help companies grow faster than they would if growing organically. For instance, a firm wants to go internationalize. However, there are also venture capitalists with seed funds that offer seed capital to companies. Venture capitalists often also have a specific sector focus and good knowledge and network within this sector. All this comes at a price where entrepreneurs will have to give a part of their company to VCs in terms of equity. So you're giving up a share of your company, and ownership is no longer 100% for the entrepreneur. And the final source of funding is the banks, which is debt financing. And this is something also Karim spoke about in terms of risk in the introduction. So banks are generally more risk averse than, for example, the angels that we spoke about, the seed investors and normal VC investors. However, they are more likely to invest in small to medium businesses, in companies with lower risk profiles, and when companies they offer collateral. A big advantage of debt financing is that you do not have to give away equity. You just pay back the capital that you've taken in addition to a specific interest. In conclusion, there are many forms of financing available for entrepreneurs. Today, we have seen 6 examples, and we invite you to do some research to discover what other options are available. This will help you choose the source of funding that suits best with your situation and company stage. Karim, this is it in terms of sources of funding. If you'd like me to engage in in another topic, in different questions you have for me, please go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Joelle, for your interesting presentation and explaining some terms also for the people who are attending this session. I think we could open the floor for questions afterward, after finishing the 4 interventions. And now, let's move on to the next speakers, and then we will be back to you, Joel. Now we have here, my dear friend and one of the amazing persons, Gabriel Petrus, Deputy Director of the Global Partnerships and Development at the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. Gabriel's role at ICC includes driving global campaigns to mobilize business on advancing the Sustainable Development Goals, tackling the global rise of inequalities, and strengthening communities through entrepreneurship programs. So, Gabriel, now the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Karine. And first of all, thank you for having us here. And I think it's a great initiative led by Nine Nations, ESQA, and all colleagues in the region. Very good to see you, Joel, and other friends from ESQA. We started this journey, I think, a year ago now, when we launched one of our first centers of entrepreneurship for the Arab region in Beirut. And one of the major goals at that time, and it's still the major goal, is to connect people, to connect young entrepreneurs in the region, but not only that, but provide them tools and resources for them to strive and succeed. And of course, we know that access to finance is potentially the most important asset and most important aspect of any entrepreneur and any entrepreneurship venture. So if I could start with covering two dimensions. First of all, about the challenge for SMEs in general and early stage entrepreneurs to get speed access to finance within traditional financial institutions. I think this is something globally we've been looking at, and the emergence of fintechs and other financial mechanisms. They're being very helpful on diversifying the global portfolio for entrepreneurs in terms of access to finance. But also another dimension of that is access to data and how data measurement can actually mitigate risks and what we call de-risking finance. Because we know that for many banks actually in traditional finance, it's almost an issue of risk and taking risks. So whenever lending to entrepreneur. So the role of global organizations such as the ICCC, ESQA, the World Bank, IFC, and others that are looking at that, I think now we're kind of, there are a lot of moving parts on that, but the main moving part, if I could say, is about creating smart data that could help financial institutions to de-risk their offerings in terms of credit and funds for entrepreneurs. And this is a major thing we can do, and we're doing. So the ICC, we launched recently a program called TradeCom. Basically, it's a digital platform that helps identify the main data set points from early stage entrepreneurs and SMEs, so that we can actually work with financial institutions on de-risking tools. Basically, it's not only one tool, but it's a group of tools, because again, ICC is a non-profit organization. We are the voice of business. We create tools, but we can create the ecosystem. And again, for us to ensure speed access to finance to entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs, it's about creating competition. It's about creating competition among traditional finance institutions, but also allowing new players to get into the market. So fintechs are one of them. I mean, they're one category of new players, but there are other players, of course, that will get into this new environment. So one thing is about de-risking with data, and again, it's about providing a smart set of data for financial institutions, so that they can provide better loans and lower interest rates. Another aspect of this discussion is about the SDGs. Of course, we all want the new entrepreneurs to be aligned with the SDGs. So whenever we're talking about new business and helping people to become entrepreneurs, it's not about becoming any kind of entrepreneurs, but it's becoming entrepreneurs aligned with the SDGs. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer for young people now starting their business, that their business must be green, that must be sustainable, must be connected with with minimal standards in terms of governance, social policies, and economic policies, what we call the ESGs. It's really, I think that's a second big branch of those moving parts in terms of finance, but it's definitely something that we should look on how to create standards in terms of SDG related investment, and I think that's something that ESQA is looking at. The ICCC Centers of Entrepreneurship with ESQA in the region, we're looking at that. Because for a bank or for a financial institution, whenever providing finance, this institution will be held accountable in the future if this finance is not aligned with the SDGs. This is what we saw at COP26, many of those discussions on green financing, accounting standards, for example. They're now obliging financial institutions to be very tough, I would say, on providing green finance. So again, for any new financial tracks that are emerging for young entrepreneurs, we should look those fundings as access to finance as sustainable. And again, it's linked with the first set of the first dimension that I brought in terms of data. So how can we assess? How we can provide a clear assessment that those new businesses they're actually aligned with the SDGs? And again, we can use data, we can use technology to provide that. Karim, how much time do I still have? I don't want to jeopardize the...
Yeah, as much as you're giving opportunities for young people, so take your time.
Okay.
I'm taking, like, I'm putting the links for the initiatives that you mentioned in the chat. So please, I invite everybody to have a look at these links also as well after the session, so you will get access to the opportunities that Gabriel is mentioning. So yes,
thank you, Karim. And just to mention on that, I think what we are doing as ICCC, ESQA Center of Entrepreneurship, is we want to play the role as aggregators, because there are a lot of opportunities from multilateral organizations, from foundations, from private-led foundations, etc. There's a lot of funds now that actually are helping people with good ideas and with ideas related aligned with the SDGs. I think the challenge is first how we can make those opportunities available and visible to entrepreneurs in the region. Second, if you have a good idea in terms of business, how we can make sure that these ideas align with what those foundations are providing in terms of funding and finance. And third, how can we ensure that funding is just the very first step on your business? I mean, you need, of course, seed money to put a business together, but you need more than that. You need capacity, you need know-how, you need markets, you need access to markets. You need to be connected with other entrepreneurs, with other suppliers, with your buyers, with your clients. And that's this third dimension about creating an ecosystem where we connect all entrepreneurs in the area region, for example, is something we're looking at now with ESQA, ICC, and other organizations that actually, so we're looking to create a kind of a social platform for entrepreneurs in the region, connect everyone, because again, having access to finance is not the big issue once you have a good idea. If you have a good idea, you're getting finance, but again, having access to the market will be your second big challenge. And so it's all about looking at the full cycle of being a successful entrepreneur. Finance is key, but it doesn't solve everything. It's just a starting point. And I would like really to shed light over the role of global institutions such as ESQA, ICC, and others, and stay connected with us. I think it's, and Joel just has made a brilliant presentation about the different resources we're looking at. Again, this is, we want to be the champions, and I think we're positioning now this new initiative, the ICC's ESQA Center of Entrepreneurship in the region, as aggregators. And I'd also shed light on the new fintechs and new financial institutions that are aiming to provide more finance for young entrepreneurs. And just to close those initial remarks, be aligned with the SDGs, make sure that your business is sustainable. We have a tool now, ICC, we just issued a tool called SME 360X, which helps your business actually to look, do a quick assessment for 5 variables in terms of natural capital, so GHG emissions, land use, waste generation, water consumption. And some banks, they're starting to use, we're kind of creating a certification and a final score that you can obtain as an entrepreneur on this platform. and banks, they will provide loans with lower interest rates for SMEs that actually prove to be more sustainable using a digital assessment tool, for example. So there's a lot of moving parts evolving in this area. And I think this conference today is an amazing opportunity to connect everyone and perhaps set a work plan, Karim, for the region, and we're very happy to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for your very interesting intervention. And as I mentioned, I put probably most of the links for the initiatives that Gabriel mentioned. And I invite everyone attending this session to go through these links and discover the opportunities that ICC is giving to entrepreneurs from all over the globe. These opportunities are mainly in the direction of networking, easing the access to markets and financial resources and financial platforms, and also facilitating trade. So it's a great opportunity for young people in the Arab region. So take this opportunity. I invite all of you to take these opportunities very seriously. And now maybe I'd like to have a quick round of questions and interventions from the attendees of this session before moving to the second part of it. I have here two written questions, but maybe I'll open the floor to the attendees to interact and ask their questions directly, and then I read the questions I have here. Anyone wants to speak?
Karim, can I ask a question before
Yes,
before
please.
the Q&A? It is very interesting, actually, the two insights that we got from Gabriel and from Joel, especially on the instruments of finance. And of course, these are for entrepreneurs, and from the family to the venture capital and so on and so forth. So it would be interesting if we also describe, the difficulties faced at each juncture. I myself have walked all this talk and been through that circles several times before, and each has a different nature of challenges and different level of readiness to, for example, work out your way with angels, different from your way out with venture capital, and so on. And of course, there are other things in the future of that journey, which relates to the IPOs and capital markets. And that was not yet let us say, the story of the early entrepreneur. We are speaking about the early entrepreneur, but for sure, there will be a stage of capital markets. So I would love really if Joel or Gabriel or Karim can also describe more the intricacies of each phase and each challenges at that different maturity continuum. This is my question. And back to you, Karim. Thank you.
Gabriel, do you want to comment on Ayman's question?
Of course. Thanks, Simon. That's great. I think, of course, there are different categories from angels from actually being.
Can you raise your voice, Gabriel, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, just raise your voice. Yes.
Thank you. I think from seed capital money to doing IPO, of course it's a long journey. There are many steps in between. I think the focus when you're a young entrepreneur, of course you're not only looking at most part of I think the statistics now show that the supply for let's say seed money is something that is quite well diffused. So I think in terms of access in the first phase, it's not where the main roadblocks are, but once you get the money and once you evolve to a further stage on your business and you're looking to scale up as with an angel investor, for example, that's where the funnel starts to be a little bit more challenging, and that's where it's part of the market, the things how things work in the market. There's a natural selection of which business will prosper or not. So it's difficult to actually anticipate from when you're starting a business, so for early stage, to actually predict how much time and how many years it will take for your business to evolve from being an early stage to an IPO, for example, taking the last mile. But I think if we look back at the statistics, we see a natural selection, let's say, of the involvement of any business, and this is part of the risk of being an entrepreneur. We should embrace that. Of course, we can. What we can do is develop tools that will coach the entrepreneur and mentor the entrepreneur in each one of those steps. But we should be also aware of our limits in terms of what can we provide and what we can't provide, because it's natural for the market to actually open up those opportunities. But I think what we can provide as ICC and as perhaps as what ESCO is doing, and maybe Karim can comment on that, is the support for the very early stage entrepreneurs, because we must ensure everyone, all young people, to have their dreams fulfilled. And if you had a good idea, why not supporting this good idea into a business? I think this first layer of providing funding and providing know-how and capacity building is almost is our mission as ICC, as ESCO, actually, to ensure a smooth level playing field for everyone that wants to become an entrepreneur. What comes later, it's something that related to the market, and we should also embrace the natural selection of the market as part of the process. But again, the first step should be ensured and supported by global organizations, and that's how we're going to unlock how entrepreneurship can actually become a force for the good in terms of creating economic opportunities.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Gabriel. Joel, do you have a comment?
Sorry, Karim. Okay. Well, actually, I'd like to pick up on the point that Gabriel just mentioned regarding what is important is just the start point, and this is where ICC and ESCO play an important role. I totally agree. What is important is to find a pain point, is to find a solution, and have those entrepreneurs and those innovators come up with a solution for this problem, you know, and to start thinking about it from that it could be a local problem that they're looking at, but they need to think from day one that they want to go global with this solution that they are providing. This is one point in terms of making sure that they are tackling a need, a pain point, a problem that the community is facing. And the SDGs is one of the directions, the Sustainable Development Goals. They provide a direction for thinking of those entrepreneurs and those innovators in terms of finding solutions. And two, what is important is that, just going back to the point of the host, regarding the different components or different elements of those financing. So when we look at angels, when we look at friends, family, and fools, and we look when the founders, they put in their money, there is no assessment based on a business plan. There is no assessment based on what you are doing in terms of strategic planning, etc. But when it comes to venture capital, it's totally a different ball game. Like you're being evaluated or assessed based on your business plan, based on your strategic vision, based on the different members of the team, if they have the right skill set to prove that they can use this money in the best way in order to scale their businesses on a regional or an international level. You need to prove to the VCs that you understand your weaknesses and you know what should be done in order to improve those weaknesses, be it hiring the right team, improving your skill set by upskilling, getting on board different advisors, tapping into different networks for advisors, for strategic partners, etc. So there's a lot to be said on this point, but for now I'm going just to stop here and listen to our colleagues, what they have to say.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Joel. Yeah, I would like to capitalize on what Joel and Gabriel said, that, yeah, there are several opportunities either in the region or nationally or internationally for entrepreneurs. And yeah, we can say here, idea could be the king here. If you have a big idea, an inspiring idea that solves a problem and a big pain in your community, so then as a formal, a very ancient saying, if the student is ready, the master will appear. So if your idea is ready enough and ripe enough, lots of people will show off to pick it up. Either investors or supporters or whoever that can push your business forward towards its growth, and it's here and
Thank you, Karim. I'll have to leave you, and I'm happy with this conclusion that you made. If the idea is there, build it and they will come. The ideation is the key. Thank you. I'll have to leave now and leave it to your hands. All the best.
Shukran. Thanks a lot, Ayman. So yeah, here it's an integrated approach. You have to work hard on your idea, and you to work a lot on your personal qualities, build your skills and capacities in terms of running a business or managing your time or managing your team and cash flow and whatever. And then also seek financial supporters and also mentoring and other types of coaching. If these integrated means of supporting your business are available, so yeah, by a big percentage you will be successful. If not, so then you will try to seek what you are lacking of. So it's all the time. It's a process that requires hard work, seeking opportunities, knocking doors, listening, hearing, and connecting and listen with different people around your business cycle. So here we will move on to the second part of this session. We have two young, amazing ladies who are working as research assistants at ISCWA Technology Center. They digged into several opportunities in two of the European countries that can have some opportunities for Arab SMEs. I'd like first of all to start with Blanca to share her research work on figuring out opportunities for Arab SMEs in the Czech Republic's market. So Blanca, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Karim, for your words. Can you confirm me that you see what
Yes.
I'm sharing?
Yes, I see your screen.
So welcome also from my side. My name is Blanka Smitkova, and I'm interning for ISCWA as researcher on opportunities mapping for Czech Republic. Basically on this slide, you can see my whole work, which includes 5 areas: recycling, wash, agritech and food, renewable energies, and ICT. So in every sector, we try to find opportunities on different levels, be it for financing directly, or networking, capacity building, technology transfer, and so on. So I would like to now introduce you to every sector separately. I can't describe every opportunity, but I will pinch some most interesting ones. And of course, if you have questions, you can contact us later. So first, there is WASH, which includes water, sanitation, and hygiene projects. Czech Republic is very innovative what considers desalination of water. There has been already some projects introduced during Expo 2020 in Dubai. But also there are opportunities to grab from the Czech government, for example, Medevac, which is a financial support for, let's say, developing countries, also within this sector. And moreover, there are also possibilities in academical cooperation. There are lots of interesting programs, what considering water protection and hydrology. Both for it can be interesting both for students, for mobility of staff, and other academical projects. Now I will move to agritech and food. So I think, from my opinion, this is the most interesting sector when considering cooperation between Arabic countries and Czech Republic, because Czech Republic is exporting highly quality food products in the dairy sector, so be it for milk, yogurts, and related products, but also the technologies related to it. And also, on the other hand, there are lots of opportunities for Arab countries to import to Czechia in a variety of products, be it for dried fruits, frozen fish, spices, and so on. And also, again, here, Czech government gives the opportunity for small-scale projects. So exactly for the type of smaller businesses, there are some call for proposals. So definitely check always the embassy of the country where you are, and they are always proposing those projects. Let's move to the third sector, which is renewable energy. And Czech Republic, again, here has much of innovative programs and projects considering smart energy solutions. And we offer also different fairs and trades where you can connect with stakeholders. Also, there are also hackathons, for example, Green Hack, or there is AF Power Agency, which offers also lots of publications, but also trades. Envitech is also another one. I would also point out to two online databases, let's say. It's called Úřední nástěnka and Veřejná soutěž. Those two are basically putting in public the tenders that are open for any business of any nationality. So you can check those. As another sector, there is recycling. Again, a very interesting area to be part of. In connection to Czech Republic, we have projects considering waste management, also the radical waste management, but also there are projects how to do disposal for manufacturing companies and grease separators. So you can find also lots of opportunities there. Speaking again about the academical area, there are scholarships for students and also academical staff to be included in projects. So check those ones as well. And we have also databases in the sector as well. For example, HBI. So those are basically electronic marketplaces where you can connect with businesses and check specifically for the sector you're interested in, if there are any opportunities that could work out for you. And the last sector, which is information and communications technologies, I would point out to 3D printing, audiovisual technologies, and AI solutions, which Czech Republic is quite mastering well. So we listed few of those companies, institutions who co-work on those projects, but also there are academical institutions that are open for cooperation on different levels, be it, for example, Central European Institute of Technology, which unites about 6 biggest universities in the Czech Republic, where you can find opportunities for cooperation. But there are also other networking opportunities where you can connect with people and maybe have discussions about how the market is open. For example, Czech Arab Society, Czech Middle Asian Chamber of Commerce, and many more, which are listed in the map. So in this place, I think I summarized the most important information. And if you have any question or if you want to see the detailed information, please don't hesitate to contact me. And there will be also some workshops upcoming, both for Czech Republic and France, as Loreen will share, where we will also present with Czech companies live, where you can connect and get more detailed information. So thank you for the word, Karim.
Thank you very much, Blanca, for your interesting presentation and the opportunities exploration in the Czech market. Yeah, there are lots of interesting opportunities there. I see that, and they sound very logical. Like, for instance, importing in Czech Republic, they are importing dried fruit, which is something that we can do easily in the Arab region with the sun 365 days per year. So yeah, there are lots of opportunities there. So I invite all the attendees of this session to explore these opportunities and figure out what's ideally matching with them. And now we are moving on or flying to France, where we will meet our nice colleague, Loreen, who will explain to us some opportunities in the French market. Please, Loreen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So my name is Loreen Salzer, and I'm working as researcher assistant within ESCWA in Amman. And I would like to introduce you my research about the France opportunity map, for which I started to work around 2 months ago already. So first of all, I think it's essential to highlight the fact that this work is really interesting and original, because it offers the chance to build bridges between European and Arab countries and observe from that what could it be created between them. And here in my case, because I'm working on France, what can be created between France and Arab region. So the main goal of this opportunity map is to facilitate partnership and commercial opportunities between France and Arab countries. To be more precise, between Arab MSMEs and French organization, companies, ministries sometimes. I can say somehow that the challenges and the principal interest of my research in creating this kind of map is to discover French companies, organization in some case, which could offer interesting services, which could fit to Arab countries. This is really important. Among the categories and subcategories we selected with our team. So the map in itself is divided into 5 main categories, which are following sectors, as Blanca said just before. So these main 5 categories are wash, agriculture, renewable energy, recycling, and ICT, information and communication technology. And these main 5 categories are themselves divided into 6 subcategories. So finance, technology transfer, capacity building, networking, importing services and products, and STI, scientific technology and innovation cooperation. I can show you maybe now the map of France I'm working on. So with the team in Amman, we imagine meetings between French organization I selected during my research and Arab MSMEs during workshops for each and of the 5 main categories in order to bring these people together to create something. I can give you a concrete example of what I'm talking about regarding this workshop. The day after tomorrow, the first workshop in the field of agri-food and technology will take place, in which people from different French organizations are going to introduce about their company to people from Arab MSMEs and see what could be created from that, which kind of commercial partnerships opportunity could emerge, because this is the point. Like, we would like them to discuss about what can be possible and see if something can emerge. So as you can see, yes, I think now I did good research about agri-food tech. I was focusing on it. So I selected, for example, Ministry of French Agriculture, which offers interesting opportunity for exporting their products. Also, I selected AFD, who has different branches into the world and who also propose some kind of partnerships. And the same also for the sector of WASH, renewable energy, which propose interesting also organization who could maybe create something with Arab MSME. Maybe they can be interesting to create something. So the map that you can see is a second draft created by our designer Sarah, working from Egypt. And it is for sure a work in progress. We need more work day by day until the next workshop between Arab MSMEs and French organization. So this is it for now for my presentation. I don't want to enter too much in details. So if you have any question or if something is not clear, you can for sure contact me or ask me a question at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks a lot, Loreen, for the presentation and overview on the French market, especially in the area of agriculture products and exchange. And I'd like to open the floor for the attendees of this session to ask questions to Loreen, Blanca, and also if you have any question to Joel also. Please ask your questions. You can do it in writing by writing in the Q&A section, or just raise your hand and we will give you the floor to speak up and ask your question. Okay, I haven't seen any raised hand. So yeah, you can just raise your hand here and then in the bottom the bottom icon, and then we'll open the mic for you.
Karim?
Yes.
Yes, Karim, may I just elaborate on a question or two that they were raised before, and I'd like to pick up on them with respect to, again, the Regional Economic Forum that happened last week, and we had investors present on the discussions. And there was one question for them: what do investors look in SMEs for them to, when they're evaluating businesses, and for them to say that, yes, we're going to invest in such a business. So there were like 6 points that were raised from the representative of a VC. The first point was said that they look at the team, and this is something that Gabriel and yourself also built up on. A team, it's very important to have like a package team. You need to have the entire skill set present, and you need to make sure that every important aspect of the business, there is a person, or there is a certain skill set that is able to tackle that aspect of the business. So team is very important, and you need to also, basically when you invest in a business, they tell you that investors also, they are investing in the team, in a team that is also very knowledgeable about what is happening around, a team that is capable of being agile and to adapt to the different changes that have happened. So the COVID experience has taught us that businesses that were not agile and ready to adapt and change their business models fast, they were basically doomed, or they took a lot of time to recover, or they are still recovering. So team is one important point. Another important point is the offering. Basically, is it the product or the service that you are bringing to this market? As we said before, it has to be solving a problem. It has to solve a pain point. There must be a need for it. Number 3 is the market size. So definitely, the bigger the market, the more interesting this opportunity is for investors. That's why we say think global from day one. Think about something that you can not only apply in your own countries, or not even only in the specific region, but also something, a product that you get, or a service that you can take internationally. And what makes sense to, when you want to think about a product or service that can go easily internationally, is to have the technology component in it, because technology can help you scale businesses much easier, and digitization as well. Number 3 is the business model. Business model means basically, how is this business going to make money? You know, a very trending aspect of business model is the subscription-based business models. Why? Because it uses internet, or it uses the technology as the basic component to it. So you need to be able to think of a business model that brings revenues, that brings profits, and also it has to be a business model that you can test and iterate with it if it doesn't work. So if you start with a certain business model at the beginning of a business, it doesn't mean you have to stick to it. It depends on the different market trends and different changes that are happening in the environment, and you need to adapt this business model. Another aspect is the competition. So you need to think about not just the direct competition who is competing directly with you, but there is something called the indirect competition. It's important to keep that in mind also when you are bringing in a specific product or service to a new market. So I'll stop here, Karim.
Thank you, Joel, very much for your intervention. And as Mariam Saleh mentioned here, it's a very rich answer. So thank you, Joel. And I'd like also maybe to ask you again, Joel, since you already intervened, if you have any comment on the opportunities that had been elaborated and presented by Loreen and Blanca. So do you have any comments on that?
The first comment is that also I've been asked in the chat box about what are the industries to invest in, and I think my colleagues, they've talked about we could add to the different industries that I've mentioned. So I said that global trends include, but not limited to, fintech, robotics and automation, artificial intelligence, clean tech, health tech, etc. My colleagues have mentioned the renewable energy, wash, what else? Recycling, all of that. ICT, absolutely, ICT. So artificial intelligence is also part of that. What for me is interesting, and this is something also that Gabriel mentioned before. It's just that, okay, we understand that finance probably is one of the challenges, and it is an important challenge, but also opportunities is something that can make up on the finance part. So market opportunities are very important, and the only way to get into market opportunities is through networking and through tapping into global networks and tapping into networks that can open doors for these entrepreneurs. And this is the internationalization aspect of any business. What I see now, if I were an entrepreneur, looking to make use of what I've seen today in my session, I would take the maps and try to look at the different opportunities that France is interested to do with the region, and what the Czech also is proposing for the region. And this could be a source of inspiration for me as an entrepreneur about what could be my next idea, or if I'm an aspiring entrepreneur.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Joel. Blanca and L'Oreal, maybe Blanca, if you elaborate to us also from your research and the conclusion of your research, what do you see as what could be the most easy or low-hanging fruit opportunity that SMEs can pick up from your map?
So as I said before, I think in every sector there is an opportunity, and it also depends from which side are you turning to the opportunities. Are you a student looking maybe for internship, or are you academical staff, or are you starting a business? I think, as said before, the agri-tech and food is the most open field that where there could be opportunities for Arab entrepreneurs, and we're still digging in this field, and there will be the maps presented at the beginning of 2022. So I would suggest, if you're interested more to hear about the specific opportunities, to stay tuned, and yeah, we will be presenting each of the companies, institutions that offer different cooperations.
Thank you, Blanca. And yeah, the same question to you, Loreen. From your research, what do you see as the quickest, the easiest opportunities that SMEs can pick up from your research?
To be honest, I'm agree with Blanca. I think there is a lot of opportunity within the agri-food sector, but I think also for renewable energy and recycling, because I check, for example, that there is already existing between France and country from North Africa, for example, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Lebanon. There are already existing some link between them. So I think if we continue to create this kind of map, this kind of opportunity, just make it bigger, I think there is a lot of opportunity in these sectors. But for sure, yeah, agri-food and renewable energy, according to my research, I found a lot of links already existing, and they want to spread it with time. So it's just a big work in progress who needs a lot of work for sure, but there is an opportunity to continue. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Loreen. Blanca, you raise your hand. You want to comment?
Yes, so as there is a question about the education sector, if it's a good investment or not, I think that there are lots of opportunities in all the sectors, like both for the cooperation between companies, especially in renewable energies and ICT. There are lots of projects going on, both with the biggest public university, Charles University, but also the technological universities. So I would definitely recommend to check that on. And also Czech Republic, even a small country, there are lots of scholarships and other opportunities for the mobility of academical staff and students. So I would also recommend you to search for that. All the pages are in English, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, actually, yeah, maybe the second part of the question asked by Noor is the education sector is a good investment or a good area for startups? Yeah, it depends on the type of education that you are providing. Like I see lots of amazing digital tools or digital programs or applications for different sectors of education, like for instance, for language courses or technical courses, or some of these also businesses are in the area of giving capacity building or one-to-one coaching, or all of these are options everywhere. I remember yesterday myself, I purchased a mobile application service for giving information and education about dieting and how to prepare your meals and this kind of things. So it depends on the type of education that you are supporting by your business, the business model, the need for this type of education, the need of the methodology or the tool that you are providing or leaning on to deliver your message. So I think all the topics, they have their own, there are niches in these topics and that require new businesses and emerging ideas for them. So it's an open call for all other sectors. However, it's very important that for every person that to believe in this idea. So either it's in the field of education or agriculture or renewable energy or ICT or whatever idea that you are doing, it's very important and it's a key issue that you are believing in this idea and you are believing in what you are doing, and it really solves a critical problem around you. And as Joel mentioned that, yeah, for also entrepreneurs, it's important to think global. What are the global trends, the global issues that you are solving by your idea? But also I'm adding here to her quote to act local. So think global, act local. It's important to start with the community around you, with the resources that you have, capitalize on them, optimize their usage, and then build up a nice idea that serves the surrounding community around you. And then you take it further, you scale this idea and grow it to other communities around you and to serve the entire nation that you are hosted in, and then afterward take it to the regional and international levels. So yeah, it's a mindset for everyone to work on yourself, to work on your idea, to discover new opportunities. I trust that there are millions of opportunities everywhere around the globe, and they are ready for the ready people to pick them up. So work hard on yourselves, work on your personal qualities, work on developing your idea. And yeah, for sure, maybe you will apply for an opportunity and you will be rejected. So that's normal. But ask yourself a question every time you will be rejected. Have you completed everything in your profile? Have you really worked on satisfying all the needs by these opportunities or not? If not, so then what are the gaps in your profile? Work on them, develop them really well, and then move on to the next opportunity. Opportunities are endless. And they are available and they are there all the time. So it's time for yourself to work on yourself and your business idea or innovation or whatever to bring it to the light. And no matter how much you will fail, it's important to move on after each failure. It's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So this is how winning is done. So it's a key message for everyone here that, go explore, network, get whatever opportunities you can get, and learn from mistakes and learn from opportunities to grow up and establish a great business from zero to hero, inshallah. Thanks a lot, and see you in another event, inshallah, soon. And I invite all of you to follow our page on Facebook and social media for ISQA. So we will announce all of our training programs and sessions and forums and whatever events. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot for the speakers who joined us today. Thanks to Gabriel, thanks Joel, Blanca, and Lorian. And yeah, looking forward to the next event.
Karim, as co-organizing team, I just wanted to inform all the participants who have joined us that we have a next session today on Arab IGF for newcomers and youth, happening at 2 p.m. Beirut time. My colleague Malak is putting the Zoom link in the chat, so we would like to welcome you all to join this interesting panel happening soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Karim. Thank you all to panelists who have joined us today. Thank you for the interesting discussions. The session recording will be made available on the DCDF website soon after the end of the session. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Under the slogan of shaping our digital future, the Arab International Digital Cooperation and Development Forum, DCDF, will bring together representatives and experts from Arab governments, the business sector, civil society, the technical community, academia, and international organizations. DCDF will be held virtually from 13 to 23 December 2021 by ESCWA, LAS, ITU, UNCTAD, and UNDESA. Through almost 30 sessions over 8 days, you can participate in policy debate on priority issues in the fields of internet policies and digital development globally and in the Arab region. DCDF aims to align the Arab tracks of the World Summit on the Information Society and the Internet Governance Forum to maximize opportunities for digital cooperation. Register now to join us in this journey from 13 to 23 December.